Welcome to another awesome interview where I explore the dynamic intersections of education, technology, and transformation. In this conversation, I sit down with Natalie Wieland, the brilliant co-founder and CTO of VidVersity, a platform that's flipping the script on how we think about online learning and educator-led content. Natalie's journey is anything but conventional, from practicing law to teaching judges about digital tools to ultimately founding a cutting-edge EdTech company. Her path reveals not only passion for education, but a deep understanding of what makes learning truly effective and why too many online training solutions are missing the mark. In this interview, we talk about her pivot from the legal profession into EdTech, why traditional e-learning tools are often falling flat, how VidVersity was born out of a desire to empower educators, not replace them, and real-world case studies showing how simple, authentic content can drive meaningful change. And of course, the role of AI in liberating learning designers and educators to do what they do best, teach with personality and purpose. So whether or not you are an L&D, teaching, or just passionate about making learning more human, this conversation is for you. Hi everyone, super excited for this conversation here with Natalie Wieland, who's the co-founder and CEO of VidVersity. And VidVersity is an incredible platform, really trying to put the power back in the educators and trainers' hands when it comes to training. And she'll talk more about that. I won't kind of butcher her value proposition. But one of the most exciting things about our conversation today is to talk about Natalie's transition from lawyer into EdTech CEO, and how that really shapes the design and why VidVersity is the way it is and why Peter and myself love it so much as a platform for bringing the power back to the trainers. So Natalie, maybe give us a little background as to how you went from lawyer to CEO of an EdTech company, and then how that's informed VidVersity from a product perspective.
Yeah, sure. So I studied law and loved every minute of it with my co-founder, Liz Collier. So we've been together since the 90s.
Wow.
I started working as a lawyer with Liz. She loved it. I worked out, I reckon by morning tea of the first day, I went, oh, good God, I'm not a person who's going to be able to sit in an office for my life. This isn't going to work for me. And so whilst I was practicing the first few years, I went back at night and did an IT degree. And that was a really rare mix. This is quite early on in the piece. This is sort of the late 1990s. So it was quite new to technology and law. So I ended up then getting a job teaching all the judges at the different courts and the big law firms on how to move across from traditional research into a digital space. And I developed this love of teaching. I just came back, it just brought me alive.
No.
So I did that for quite a few years. And then when I had young kids, I didn't really want to go back to full-time work. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do. And the laws around professional development for lawyers changed. So for the first time ever, we were allowed to do online professional development. And I went, hello, could you have more of a niche? So I had my teaching, I had my technology, and also law. So I created a company called CPD Interactive to provide professional development to lawyers. And I discovered that the traditional tools of creating online learning like Storyline and Rise and that are great.
Want to know more about Articulate Rise? Check out Bianca's review in this video.
They look beautiful, but they're actually not a great way to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking around at the world going, hold it, everybody's learning from LinkedIn Learning, everybody's learning from YouTube. So I created a platform just for me. It was never designed to be commercialized, to develop interactive video that provided the learning, but when you wanted them to read a case or a piece of legislation, it stopped the video. When you wanted them to do a quiz, it stopped the video. And then I ultimately sold CPD Interactive, but I kept the technology. And that has been the journey of VidVersity.
Amazing. Successful solutions to problems come from people who have had that problem. So you tick that box. Obviously, you did it from real experience and seeing the issues. And I guess, how did you progress your teaching journey? So obviously you're learning the craft of teaching. How did that inform the VidVersity platform now?
Well, one thing I really strongly believe, the only way I can keep my skills in relation to teaching is to teach.
Mm-hmm.
For 15 years, I worked at Melbourne Law School in the Academic Skills Centre teaching. And now the last couple of years, I'm teaching at TAFE. So I'm teaching tonight. I teach a couple of nights and it keeps me aware of the learner. I think one of the problems with a lot of technology, it's pretty, it's beautiful, it might create something that looks great, but is it a great learning asset? Is it going to shift behaviour? It's not just passing on knowledge, because we can go to ChatGPT to learn something, but can we change behaviour? And so I've been teaching the same subjects for nearly 20 years, and I don't think I've ever taught it the same, because I'm always learning what learners need to be educated. So I hope that I'm constantly bringing that skill set into the platform and making it evolve and be a tool that empowers educators to be able to. So one of my big problems that I have with the online learning process is I'm the teacher. I love the teaching. And then I get a team who say to me, we want to build this online. And a learning designers get it out of my head. Then they sanitize it. They take everything out that represents me. And they deliver it in this format that slides with a next button and the animation and a drag and drop. And I go, that's not what I was trying to say. Whereas if you film me, or I film me with my phone on, it doesn't have to be the greatest quality. It's the content that makes learning amazing. And that's what the philosophy of VidVersity is.
Which goes back to people learn from people, people buy from people. And that has been absolutely one of the problems with the online learning space. And again, if we compare the service delivery and service options of OPEDA versus what VidVersity do, we do that sanitized version of a course. And we do it for people who want that sanitized version of a course and a linear experience and etc. But it does take away from the personality, and especially if there's no budget for video. So we find in that particular situation where they do send it over to an agency like us, to get that personality back into that product, because one of the key things in digital is that we're moving away from a variable learning experience with the teacher in a room to a fixed product on a screen. And that's been the biggest problem, I think, challenge of learning designers, is trying to take that educator's personality and keep it over here, but also maintain the ROI for the organization for when that person leaves. So when you go on produced content in that way, you have to create it so that it stays there and it's evergreen. And so then you take the personality out. So what I really love about VidVersity is that it does give that power back. And so can you talk to how VidVersity does that for an institution? So how would an institution start using VidVersity instead of coming to an agency like OPEDA?
Well, I'll give you an example that I love this example. I've got a couple, but one is we were brought into a large construction company and they were having accidents on the site. And I said, can I have a look at two things I wanted to look at? What is the learning you've built and who are the learners? So I looked at the learning. It was beautiful. It was beautiful and polished and highly produced. Then I looked at the learners, and many of them had English as a second language. Literacy levels were quite low. And go back to the learning, it was very, very text heavy, but looked beautiful. So I said, so this is the flow that we use VidVersity. I said, you've spent however much money on that. Can we have another approach and just try the VidVersity philosophy? So I went in with my phone. I went down to the site. I met the site manager, Macca. I got him in the shed and I said, what are the 10 things that make you safe on your site? If I'm going to turn up to your site, what do I have? So he went through the list. You've got to know what these 3 signs are. This means you can't go in this, and you've got to have steel cap boots. He went through the 10. I uploaded that using the VidVersity app into our platform. Chunked it into 10 what we call chapters. Each chapter has 1 video. So each one was the 10 tips. Inside each one of those, I had some quizzes because they required that. That was a requirement. We made that in about 48 hours and delivered it via a link to their phones.
Brilliant.
6 months later, the accident rate had dramatically dropped because the person who was the educator, who ultimately was Macca, we captured what he understood and we delivered it for the learners.
Watch this video to see why being on camera is quickly becoming part of the teaching toolkit.
Absolutely.
So another one we did just quickly was during COVID, we worked for an aged care facility, and the same thing, they were really nervous. Every week the government were making different recommendations or obligations. And because Liz and I are lawyers, we really always identify risk. That's something we've got our eye on. And so the CEO said to me, I'm really worried about our 3,000 staff being informed about what the requirements are for the government. So I said, first of all, I did an audit across the business. There was 8 languages spoken. I found 8 champions who spoke that language, and every Monday I'd have a meeting with those 8 people. Remember, I couldn't get in there. And I said to those 8 people, today we now are swapping from masks to shields, or whatever their mandate was, do a little video, uploaded it, was delivered every Wednesday in 8 languages. That's a beauty, but that meets a need. And I remember the CEO actually rang me quite emotional. He said, I feel so overwhelmed because I feel like I'm keeping my staff safe.
You've tapped on a couple of other issues that we've seen with the online learning space, and obviously, again, with the model in which OPEDA runs off of, which is the time taken to get these things done. So what you're talking about is immediate training needs, and it's just in time. And we know as educators that just in time feedback is important. Just in time learning is now very much part of our adult learning behavior. We will go to YouTube when we need to know something. We will go to ChatGPT now, or whatever our favorite LLM is, and we learn as we need it. And that's a super important thing. And that's what the digital education space hasn't done very well, is move fast. And I think why I'm really excited is also because of some of the projects that we've got in mind, our ability to do that and to respond quickly through some really engaging training in a system that it hasn't got all the crazy bells and whistles, but it's got the right stuff in it. So yeah, I'm really excited by that.
Well, that's actually quite by design. So I always say, Mark Twain said I was going to write you a short letter, but I didn't have time to write a long one. It's actually hard to strip features. So I'm very, very careful. So I run the product side of things. If someone requests something, it doesn't mean I say, yes, we need that, because I think part of enabling educators is sometimes I think of it like a camera. Your camera on your phone is enough for people who aren't a photographer.
Yes.
So I think that's been quite deliberate. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of I think one of the criticisms of the EdTech space, I think right now, is there's just a lot of noise and a lot of pressure of people to take. And I mean, we've just seen a proliferation of AI apps and tools and products being, bombarded. And essentially, we're seeing that same thing happen with AI as we did with the internet. There's so much of it, and then hopefully it all just kind of distills in the end and, consolidates. I often think about, because it's been about 15 years since I've been working in online learning, and as much as there's been a lot of stuff, I don't think much has really changed, which is bizarre. And I still find having the same problems with the technology. And so I think this really stripped back, simple idea of putting the educators back in front of them and back in the power is going to change definitely the way we learn online, because there's obviously online learning fatigue as well. I'm seeing that in the market.
Yeah, well, what blows me away, I still work for different places and I have to do their safety training, and it's a SCORM file in an LMS with 10 slides, a next button and a quiz. And I think, how on earth does that still exist?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of great stuff out there, and we're not just always fast stuff too. So lots of people use us for induction that never gets changed. But I just think we need to not be stuck with one way to do something when it comes to online. We do not do the same when it's face-to-face, but somehow we just keep going down this same path. It blows my mind. And also, SCORM does not mean just storyline. There's many ways to deliver different things. I think people have got really stuck in the way they build things.
Absolutely. And in some ways the technology has kept us there, but in other ways it's just, I think, the overwhelm as well. And I think having a tool like yours in the suite of what OPEDA offers is going to be really valuable, because after really understanding it, now I can see retrospectively some clients from the past that really could have done with this instead of our approach to development. And we do what we can within the budget and what we've been given, but often sometimes it does feel like we're putting lipstick on a pig and kind of creating a linear. And I'm kind of over the clicky linear process as well, because it feels like there's only so far we can push it. We keep getting asked to innovate in the sector. And I say, well, unless I'm jumping out of the screen at you, I can't really, unless we've got holograms in the room of the teacher and all of that, there's nothing more I can really do with what the tools we currently have. But what VidVersity offers is actually for the learning designers to empower the educators instead of do the work for them. So I really like the idea of sitting with those educators and teaching them the tool as a learning designer.
Yeah, and that's really important to me. I think as an educator, I feel strongly that I wanted to be able to build my own content. Now, this isn't to say learning designers can't use this, but I just really love the idea that Macca can do it, or the head of the Commonwealth Bank, for instance. I'm not saying it at the time, just saying it as an argument. But, what that brings is variety and diversity to your training.
Yes.
Because you're going to have lots
authentically as well, not contrived, authentically.
Authenticity. We had another client, which was an army, And they made a very, very expensive video, extremely expensive video for their induction, and they tested it, and a whole lot of people went, that's not where we wear the chin strap. The actors put it too far back. So they instantly went, there must be an actor. And that we lost trust. Where filming authentically, instantly everyone goes, oh, I know who that is. This is real.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very interesting space at the moment in online. I think I've definitely felt not as excited by it recently as I have, but I'm starting to get my excitement back. And I think that's because I'm starting to see how AI is changing the way we engage with content and knowledge. And you touched on it earlier around, this is not about content anymore. It's not about knowledge dumping. It's about experience. And so I'd love to hear from you what you're the most excited about as we're in this extremely big kind of convergence of technology, and we are in a massive transition, and we're seeing a lot of tools. And as somebody right there with an EdTech product, like, there's something I haven't been brave enough to do. So I take my hat off to you and Liz for getting in there and doing the actual product work. So what are you guys the most excited about with the current environment in online education and tech?
Well, AI I have to be. I'm just so excited about the ability to make more interesting stuff faster.
Want to see how AI is changing instructional design right now? Don't miss this video.
So one of the things I really get disappointed when people, as I said, sanitize content and make it quite boring. But one of the things AI now makes it really easy. Everyone can be creative and a bit innovative. So my flow that I'm using is I'm using ChatGPT to, I break it down into a series of chats, and I'm creating a series of, so say I'm creating training on the right to disconnect from work. I get some great idea. I get some content. I get some great ideas. I go and put it in Notebook LN. I get it to think for me and help me really think. I'm constantly working with it. I don't rely on it. I'm then using tools like Gamma to make it into a PowerPoint. I then might be using something like PlayHT to make it into my voice. So I can create what I would call the traditional training. I can create fast, which gives me then the headspace, time and budget to make great stuff, exciting stuff. So when I'm making a video, I'm always saying to people sit there and they go, no, and they start talking. I go, talk to the learner. Say, I'm here today to talk to you. I'm going to ask you to do this. So I'm most excited about trying to think differently. That's what my goal is to get people going. You do not have to make online learning boring. The AI tools are helping with all of that compliance stuff. Bring the educator alive. Educators are educators for a reason. They love to teach. Make them the centerpiece.
And for the most part, I used to say when I was a school teacher, it's all acting. So we're all up there just putting on a show, essentially. And so let the educator do that the way they do it well, and give them that camera. Everyone has a camera in their pocket now. And I think people are getting more and more used to being on camera. I think 5 or 6 years ago, people were still very, very hesitant to go on camera, myself included. But now it just is a normal part of our lives. And I think that the timing of VidVersity to get to where you are, I think is really perfect. I think we've got a fatigue, and this could actually really get people excited again. And AI is doing some of that really sort of crappy legwork that we don't have to do anymore as LDs. We can just kind of throw it in and get the shell and then do the fun stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I hope L&D and that the world of learning goes into, because God, it's a great job. It's a great opportunity to change people's lives. Getting rid of that compliance stuff, use AI to do all that, then bring this stuff alive. Amazing. It's exciting me. I love every minute of it.
Awesome. I think we'll end it there, Natalie, because I'm just as excited as you. I'm getting excited again, I think. It's been a journey the last 6 months, not feeling terribly excited by online learning anymore, but coming back to it. So thank you so much. And yeah, obviously myself and Opita, the team, really look forward to learning more about the platform as we start building in it and promoting it to our clients. And I really encourage anyone to go along and have a look at the VidVersity. And that you run lots of webinars. Well, it is once a month, right? You have something on?
Yep.
So people can find that out through your website?
Yeah, it's all on VidVersity.
Yep. And obviously hit Natalie up on LinkedIn and Liz up on LinkedIn. And yeah, stay tuned as we keep having conversations about trying to make online learning a bit more exciting again.
Thanks so much, Bianca.